works in media, I literally could be searched, seized, fined, jailed, and banned if I say anything that is, and I'm quoting now, in the national interest. And there's no defining what that is.
Hi guys, we have welcome our special guest. I'll let him introduce himself, and we have the.
Hi, guys. My name is Cameron Cowan from the Cameron Journal.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you so much for joining us here at Are You Mod, the podcast for the people. So I was actually pretty surprised, for you to come along board, only primarily based on your platform is more, I think, more political science. Well, not political science, but more news based. And I wanted to ask a couple of questions because I did listen to some recent episodes in regards to you are a writer. So you do have a book out that's entitled, is it Ironcast? Sorry, Cast Iron on your
Yeah,
cover.
no, it is. Yeah, so I have three books. The novel is Cast Iron, a novel available everywhere books are sold digitally. We're not on the shelf anymore. It's been a couple years, but digitally we're there. And then I also have my short story collection, which is a little more accessible. That's my phone. Um, called An Unfinished Coloring Book.
Nice. Okay, I like that.
Yes, and then if you are a news politics junkie, my nonfiction book, What the Hell is Going On? A Primer to Our World in the Age of Trump, um, is available. And I should let everybody know I'm actually working on an updated post-COVID edition of that book that will be out this year.
Nice. All right.
So I've kind of been telling people if you really want to get what the hell is going on, you can grab the old one now because it's super cheap on Amazon. It's only like $8. But if money is tight, wait, give me 3 or 4 months, the new book will be out.
Totally get it.
So
All available
yeah.
on Amazon or well
Amazon,
online.
Barnes and Noble, Waterston's in the UK.
Yes.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right.
So
Very well. Very well. And what the heck is going on? No. Well, I usually ask my guests, "Are you mad?" Usually, is how I will ask. Is like, "Are you mad?" So I'm going to ask you, "Are you mad?"
yes, because we're about to lose all of our free speech rights.
Whoa. Okay, now drop some knowledge, Karen, please. Breaking news.
So, right, yes. Right now in the US House of Representatives, we have a bill called the Restrict Bill. You probably know it better as the TikTok ban bill.
Yes. Yes.
And what this piece of legislation does is way more than just ban TikTok. One of the things it does is it gives the government the right to search any of your communications at any time without a warrant, with no congressional oversight, by the way. So, literally, whoever decides you should be searched has to be accountable to exactly no one in that decision being made. That's the first of many problems, but that's the most important one. The
That's
other one is it bans any equipment or VPNs that are used to contact quote unquote foreign adversaries. They list the usual suspects, but that can be added on to at any moment. So right now it's like North Korea, Iran, Russia, all this type of thing. It could be any other country that they decide at any point along the way. Um,
interesting.
yeah, and the other thing is like the fine for using a VPN to contact one of these countries is 20 years in prison and $250,000 fine. As to compare, that's the type of penalties they usually hand out for, things like treason, you know,
Yeah.
breach of classified documents, all this type of. I mean, that's how kind of heavy-handed they're taking it. They also want the president to appoint a quote-unquote secretary of communication that would manage this whole banning, search, censorship process. And that person doesn't have to report to Congress, gets to appoint their own staff without any congressional oversight to decide how all this should be administered. So it basically lays the foundation for government censorship of all media and the banning of any media at any time. So as someone who works in media, I literally could be searched, seized, fined, jailed, and banned if I say anything that is, and I'm quoting now, in the national interest. And there's no defining what that is.
Wow. That is a
Yes.
lot. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's
It
no
is it's
definitive.
a sweeping piece of legislation. It's quite dangerous.
Yes, yes. And when did this start rolling? When did this roll out?
It's currently in committee. So in Congress, bills go to a committee to
Okay.
be voted on before they go to the whole House for approval, and then to the Senate, and then to the president. So right now, this is a new piece of legislation. It's gone through what's called first reading, which is when the clerk stands up and says a title to a bill, and then they gavel it to a committee because no one wants to hear all that shit.
Right.
So it's in a committee right now.
Okay.
Um,
Wait, first of all, let me pause. I need to breathe for a minute because that was a lot. You just came in and was like, "Are you mad?" Yeah, hit me with the cast iron, and literally, figuratively,
yeah,
spiritually. Oh my god! And
yeah.
someone like me who tries to stay like off the radar and like in my little Zen bubble and speaking my mindfulness, and you're like, yeah, girl, at any moment in time, if someone in legislation or in the committees, or it's in committee right now, decides to just say, we don't like what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if this legislation passed as written, it doesn't matter where you hide. If you either on purpose or accidentally do something that some bureaucrat somewhere decides is against the national interest, you can suddenly be blocked, censored, fined, whatever have you. So anybody that values free speech rights should be concerned.
Yes.
Anybody that works in media or has any sort of broadcast should be concerned, because that's all of us. That's
Yeah.
you, that's
Yes.
me, that's
Yes.
everyone we know, all this type of thing. And the other thing, especially in the Black community, and here's kind of where the funny part is, in the Black community, we're a little bit more familiar with this because there's a history of this kind of already going on that goes back to at least the 1970s.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so in terms of infiltration of organizations, in fact, Tupac Shakur's mother, Asada, argued in court about the move and how the FBI blew up a block and a half of Philadelphia for no good reason, to root out an organization that was so nonviolent. The FBI people they sent to infiltrate them were having to like gin up violent ideas because most of them were just running around town existing.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and so there's already, especially within dissident revolutionary movements, be that, Black Panther. I had the chance to meet Elaine Brown, first
Nice.
chairman of Black Panthers years ago. Yeah, we had her out to my college to speak when I was a senior. All this type of thing. Like there's already like experience with this in terms of not necessarily the binning, but the censorship, the
Yes.
spying, that's already kind of a well-known and established thing for
Yes.
40, 50 years at this point, including, like most people don't know this, but like a lot of major hip hop shows will get more police presence, plainclothes officers from local to federal level. In fact, I used to own a record label and book shows, and my insurance company, for cost reasons, begged me to never book hip hop because the insurance rates tripled.
Very good.
Um,
Very good
yeah,
to
and
know.
I mean, it was so bad at one point, even just having a Black artist on the roster made them sweat. bearing in mind I'm black and I own the company. But like that's how bad it is. And so to take that apparatus that's kind of been keeping an eye on the black folk for the past 150 years and to expand it out to all of society. I mean, it's not good in our community, just full stop right there, but to
Right.
expand it out to all of society and basically make all media subject to the control and whims of the government, regardless of which side of the political divide you're on. This
Mhm.
is bad for you. If
Yes.
you're on the right and the Democrats are in power, they can decide you're in the national security interest and out you go. If you're the Democrats and the Republicans are in power, they can do the same thing to you. Government just shouldn't have this power. End of. Just shouldn't be a thing. And it's and not that it goes without saying, but this is unconstitutional as hell. like, like farewell First Amendment, you know. I mean, imagine like the protests in 2020. The government could have shut down any app that was supporting BLM protesters. They could have searched without warrant or oversight, text messages, all this type of thing. And like I said, this has already gone on in a lot of movements of people of color. But now there's no oversight, there's no guardrails, all this type of thing. And so this legislation is really, really dangerous. So I would encourage people to give it a search, give it a Google. It's called the Restrict Act or the TikTok ban bill. Give it a Google. There's some great TikToks. If you've got a short attention span, ADHD, not a problem. There's some great TikToks.
Yes.
Grab it on TikTok, grab you on Instagram reel, grab you a YouTube short. There's always some great ones out there, or give it a Google if you need to read. I'm going to be writing about this and talking about this on all my channels, but everybody should be going out there and reading about this, learning about this, and then please contact your congressperson. Even like if you are a basement rapper who wants the freedom to continue to say what you want on the mic, this is the time for you to get into politics a little bit. And guess what? You may be a felon and can't vote, but you can still call your congressperson, even if you're a felon and can't vote. So nobody has any excuses. Like just because you did a dime somewhere does not mean you cannot pick up a phone and call your congressperson.
Listen, but thank you. Obviously, we need it. Oh my, you just okay. I had no idea what to expect, and you were just like boom on your lap. Very well. So I'll be definitely sharing your posts. I'll be definitely sharing your shorts as you continue to keep us updated on this. And it's called the
Yeah.
the TikTok ban or the Restriction Act, correct?
It's called right now. It's called the Restrict Act.
The Restrict Act. Okay.
Yes.
The Restrict Act, singular. Restrict Act, simple as that. Google it.
Yep.
Continue to keep up with Cameron's journal. Yes.
Yep.
And we'll be
cameronjournal.com will be, yeah, this is just kind of hit. There's just people are just starting to write and talk about it. And I've already gotten a lot of, you know, text messages from people either being like, hey, this is super screwed up, do you know about this? Or people that are already frightened and all this type of thing. And like I said, if you're a person of color, this type of thing isn't entirely unknown to us, but giving the government that much power is incredibly dangerous, regardless of who's in power. The government should just never be able to do this. So it's that's the really kind of the breakthrough thing of the day. So yeah.
good stuff. Well, thank you. You have just really opened my eyes and alerted me. I'll tell you that much. And I'll be definitely in tune with you and following along with this act and our Congress. Contact your congressperson. You heard it here. You heard it first. Cameron has advised you, warned you, pleaded with you in any shape, fashion, TikTok, reel, AD, whatever it is. We need to get it in the short. Get it in the short. Find out who your local congressperson is. And
YouGov.com. If you don't know who your congressperson is, you can go to YouGov.com, put in your address wherever you live in, and they'll show you your congressional district, who your congressperson is, and all the information. So it's literally like a 2-minute Google search, and you'll be good to go. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. The only way this is going to be defeated is if we basically burn up the phone lines to the Capitol. Like that's the only way this gets defeated. And it has to be by phone. Tweeting is not enough. Posting on social media is not enough. Congress people will walk into their office. Here's literally how Washington works. They'll walk into the office, they'll ask their staff, how many phone calls did we get today? And if the staff person says, the phone will not stop ringing over the Restrict Act, that then gets their attention. And no matter where you are in the country or how red your state is or how blue your state is, this is something where if you're calling and you're complaining and 10 friends do and their 10 friends and their 10 friends, we can create that groundswell of support. And what it's ultimately going to do is going to make people who are maybe insecure about voting for it kind of break off on the edges, and so you don't get the 215 votes and it dies on the floor. If we're really good, it might die in committee, which would be better, but at a minimum, we can get it to die on the floor by getting a handful of Congress critters to decide that this isn't a good idea. So this is definitely a time for us to get up, get our activist hat on. It only takes a few minutes, but literally, like, if you enjoy watching TikTok videos, like, this is the time to get out there. If you enjoy having basic rights to say what you want to in your own home, on your own phone, then this is a piece of legislation that cannot go through.
Bless. Thank you so much, Ken. I mean, I am very appreciative of this. I'm sure it's been going on. I've heard of the TikTok ban, but I didn't realize how serious it was until right now. I'm like,
yeah,
this is, oh my God.
No, this is still pretty fresh. So they had the CEO of TikTok come in to do a congressional hearing last Friday. And this legislation, I believe, was introduced on Monday. So, yeah, so this is still pretty fresh. I just started reading Twitter threads about it last night. I could not sleep last night, so I sat up and started reading the legislation, which is always a throwback. I used to work in state government, so I spent a lot of time reading bills. But so I was reading it last night, and I'm just kind of like, this is so unconstitutional. It's stupid, and it's basically, I think for me, what's frightening is there's a lot of the kind of the underhanded, shady stuff that has gone on in Black organizations for decades that's now getting codified into law and can apply to everyone, everywhere, all at once. Like, that's not good.
I know. And because we're all sharpening up our tools, we're all becoming a lot more knowledgeable, right? Black people are reading now, right? They have rights now, actually voting, actually utilizing, the power of the pen and what have you. So now they're like, these people are catching on. So now it's not just Black folks, it's whomever they can just sweep underneath that one umbrella and just say, hey, you're in what is it called again? National interest.
Yeah, whatever. However you want to define national security interest, like,
and that is the scariest part about it, because it's no definitive definition or list of what is in violation, so that you can actually either avoid it or not. Whoa.
No, yeah, it's basically any unnamed bureaucrats can just decide, you're not okay, and then all of a sudden, and here's the thing about it. This is federal, so this is high stakes. So it's like, you're not even going to like a San Quentin or an Attica. No, you've been upgraded to first class. You're going to Leavenworth. Like, you're going to one of the big federal places. Like, you've been upgraded. So it's like, so not only is this unconstitutional, it's like, you're now doing federal time. Like, oh no, ma'am. Like, no, like, it's like, we're doing federal time for a text message?
For a tweet.
Or a tweet, yeah. It's like,
yo, Cameron, how are you keeping yourself cool through all of this, though? Because you are taking in so much information.
I mean, for me, it's really, I mean, I'm on the front lines because I own the Cameron Journal and I do the news and politics, and I can determine to be a national security threat at any moment in time. And that's my whole business gone, which is my livelihood. But then that's also, my readership loss. And again, I don't want to be at the federal pen. Like, no, thank you. I don't look good in orange. And so, I was like, I'm gonna have to join a gang and everything. It's gonna be a whole thing. And so, I mean, so honestly, like, at this point, I'm trying, honestly, this is how I handle this stuff, is by doing this by going out to places, talking to people about it, mentioning it, having conversations, trying to get people activated
Right.
to do stuff. And to be perfectly honest, I live in Seattle, which is in Washington State. Cannabis is legal here, and I do smoke in the evenings.
There we go. All right.
So
Thank you. That's okay.
that's
To
yes,
answer
like
my
at
question.
some point, yes, at some point, like that's how we chill out because the world is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Good. All
Yeah.
right. Good. I'm glad we have the medicinal. Okay, no, it's
Yes.
recreational. It's legal there, so it could be medicinal, recreational. But I'm glad that you have some outlet in terms of decompressing because you are. I honestly, I've kind of stayed away from the news because it's just treacherous. I mean, honestly, you don't want to hear these things. You don't want to know these things. But I mean, bless you and bless what you do for being in the front lines and taking in this information. And like, hey guys, if you didn't know, I know you haven't been watching the news for God knows how long, but you
Yeah.
may want to pay attention to this. So I appreciate you, and I'm going to
No,
be paying more
that's why.
attention to you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's one of the things. One of the things I always say about like the Cameron Journal. It's right at the top of the website. Is I
Yes.
say the world is complicated. This is not. Because a lot of my readership is, I read 150 news sites a day. I'm a news junkie. Most
Yeah.
of my readers are not. They rely on me to be the news junkie for them, sort of thing. And
Mhm.
so I try to keep things super fun, accessible. I always tell people, I said, my vision is I'm the guy at the end of the bar that you start talking to and just knows a lot of interesting stuff about stuff, but you walk away being like, huh, okay, cool, without feeling, like, oh, you need to read 10 books before I can talk to you. And nothing like that here. I was kind of like, here's what it is, all this type of thing. Here's why this can be good or bad. You can make your own decision about it. But yeah, it is hard to stay involved with it and all this type of thing. I mean, you'll lose your peace and your rest.
Yes.
For sure. So I get that, but I try to make it easy and accessible. So cameronjournal.com.
Shameless
and
plug.
and if
That's right,
and if
baby.
reading, yes, and if reading isn't your thing, we do have the podcast, which comes out on all your favorite platforms, and the video versions of the podcast appear on YouTube. So
I
whatever medium you like, we've got something for you.
There
So
you go. Beautiful,
it's
beautiful.
yeah. So what do you all normally talk about here? I'm sure it's not this.
Mental health and mindfulness, but no, 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 no. I love the angle. I love the energy. I love what you brought in today. This is not normally our dialogue. I mean, we talk about almost any and everything because it all encompasses, the mindfulness and mental health in regards to how are we staying afloat, during these critical times. For me, I started the podcast because I was like, adult orphan. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really out here in the world. My bonus dad told me to watch more news. I don't want to watch the news. It's like I don't want to watch the news, but life is lifing, and you have to kind of sneak in every now and then, and every now and then you may catch someone like I don't know, invading Capitol Hill and doing all kind of craziness. So you know what I mean? Like we're like
No,
in
I
and
mean
out, but we're still
it
so
is, I mean,
behold.
I will say from a mental health perspective to kind of bring it to what your listeners usually signed up for.
Yeah.
Um as someone who has ADHD and autistic, um I this is easy for me because the world is my hyperfixation. So
Okay.
I'm primarily a student of people.
Yes.
Um, and I study people because I'm very much not like them and don't necessarily understand them. So I decided to learn as much as I could about them.
I like that.
Um, and so, but it is definitely, this is not an easy time to be alive. A lot of people will say, you're whining, you're complaining, you're whatever. And it's like, no, this is a really difficult time to be alive. This is going to be a whole, like, students of the future will be having a whole month-long unit on like early 21st century America. Like, is, and it will be 9/11, financial crisis, pandemic, Donald Trump. Like, it'll be the whole thing. Like, this will be a special unit. Essays will be written, papers will be assigned, all this type
Yes.
of thing. Um,
Yes.
this is the interesting part of the history book. So
I think.
I always tell people it's important to remain centered. don't lose the small stuff. So take that walk, play with your kids, hang out with your significant other, go to church if that is your way. Whatever those small things are that keep you centered and grounded in perilous times, that's important to do. I just finished my master's of fine arts in creative writing, and my thesis project is a book I'm pitching right now called The Sweetgrass Saga, and it's basically Downton Abbey set in the antebellum South. And one of the ways that the housekeeper, Brenda, who's actually named after a woman who, a historical interpreter at Mount Vernon in Virginia, named Brenda Parker, who plays
Okay.
George Washington's maid as a historical interpreter. She's lovely.
Okay.
I named the character after her. She's the housekeeper on Sweetgrass. So much of the way Brenda survives slavery in 1850 central Mississippi is the small little pleasures and the small little joys, like sharing peach wine with her son when he's moved to the slave cabin with his wife for the first time, a little pipe tobacco smoke with Hattie the cook. Those are the ways that she survived, consistently intolerable conditions. And that's all she had ever known. That's all she thought she would ever know in 1850. She doesn't know the Civil War is coming. All this type of thing. That's how she survived that. And I think in these perilous times,
Yes.
one, we can, especially as people of color, our ancestors have probably already been through worse. So if they survive, so can we.
Yeah.
And then, my father grew up in the Jim Crow South, and that's an experience I still don't fully
Cringe.
understand in Grok. Like he literally drove around Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and is like, that used to be the white people theater, and that used to be like the black person shop. And I'm kind of like, my brain still can't comprehend that. Like it's just weird. So it's like, and he's still alive. He's 74. He's still alive. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. The son of sharecroppers, the great grandchild of the people who came off the plantation. And my book is set on the plantation our family came from, in north central
Wow.
Mississippi. Yeah, and so it was called Bowling Green. I didn't like that name, so I called it Sweetgrass. And so yeah, it's like that is like, but like even just like that, like, being, growing up in the 1960s in the middle of civil rights, like he was at the at the scene of the crime,
Yes, literally.
at the scene of the crime. It's like if he could survive that, we can survive this too. But ultimately, it's the small little things that allow us to make it through. So my encouragement is, yeah, we're living in perilous times. Yes, it's super tough, but make sure to do those small little things that will keep you sane and keep you going on to the next day.
And there you have it, folks. You heard it. You heard it from the Cameron Journal himself. Yes, he came in and he told us why he was mad, right? He let us know why. But there were, but it had valid reason. Has everything to do with our livelihood. He's literally a journalist. I'm a podcaster, and for those of you who are TikTokers and those of you who just, are YouTubers, whatever your medium is, there right now is there's a legislation right now that's in committee, and we should definitely be paying attention to it. But even in the midst of it, even with all of these new legislations that are coming out, or that they're passing, and forgive me, I don't know too much about the government. I'm a first generation immigrant, and I'm just like
No,
figuring it
no, it's
out, and I'm just
okay. Yeah, no, it's okay.
I'm
Yeah.
like figuring it out. So thank you again for presenting this and bringing this dynamic to the audience, and for them to be mindful, because the whole objective is to be mindful. So by you sowing in this seed, at least for us to be mindful in terms of our freedom of speech, which is currently under attack, we definitely want to be sure that we are doing what we can do, similar to our ancestors that came before us. Although we're not out there marching, some people are marching, but we can literally just pick up a phone, according to
Yeah,
Cameron.
no, yeah. This is something where, yeah, you can make a big difference by reaching out to your congressperson, placing a call to their office, say, I don't like this restrict bill at all. I'm your constituent in your district, and this bill is hot garbage. And And that's how we can try to get the groundswell of support we need to stop this from being passed. That's the one nice thing about politicians. They're a fickle bunch. With the right sort of public pressure, they
Yes.
can be brought to heel. Um,
Perfect.
and this is a moment where we really need to all kind of stand up and do that, because here's the thing. Do y'all like reading the Shade Room? Because
Oh,
that's the type of thing that, like, there could be no more Shade Room just
easy.
randomly one day, just
TMZ.
gone. Yeah, out the
All
window.
of
Yeah,
that.
it's like, yeah, World Star Hip Hop. Like, you like any of this stuff? Like, a Republican president could decide the Griot and BET ain't all that and just shut us all down.
That part.
You
That
know,
part.
yeah,
And
and so that's, so it's like this is literally, like, this is, if you want to continue to have free open media in this country in any capacity, and you don't want some future person outright blatantly suppressing media, and they will come for people of color first, because this is America.
it's easier.
um
Yeah,
like,
yes,
exactly,
this
like,
is
this is,
America.
yes,
Mhm.
this is the time to stand up. And like I said, tell your friends, share this episode.
Oh, yes.
If you find other stuff on other platforms, make sure to share it to your page. um you know Let people know, because this is one of those moments where, if we don't stop this, life's not going to be the same.
Exactly. Exactly. And I enjoy being able to bring forth mindfulness from where I am in the world.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, and still be able to light an incense, and or if you're in a state that has legal marijuana, to be able to blow a J if we need to, decompress, find your mindfulness in the midst of it. So just make one simple phone call, but still stay centered, still stay grounded. This doesn't take away from your day to day. We all have to do important things. We all have to continue to just be, I don't know, productive adults in society. So no,
yeah,
just be sure to do so for yourself, for your children, and for your children's children, just so that we can continue to enjoy the freedom that
definitely.
we
Yes,
are supposedly.
yes. Yes, aim. I mean, yes. I mean, aim. I mean, freedom is always a fungible thing sometimes, depending on situations. But this is suppression out loud. They're not even trying to hide it this time.
Honey.
Like, usually they try to hide it, sweep it under the rug, pretend it's not really a thing. This is censorship out loud. This is your rights restricted, hence why it's called the Restrict Act, out loud. And this is, if they just wanted to, ban TikTok or force them to sell off the American division, this wouldn't really be a problem. But they took that and made
You
it a whole other thing, and wants to create a new government apparatus whose job it is to collectively spy on us all and decide that somebody is saying something that's not in the national interest, and then out you go with no determination as to what that is. So it's, yeah, if you value free media and being able to say what you want and text what you want, because phones are included too, then take some time, head over to yougov.com, find your congressperson, give them a call, say, hey, Restrict Act, that's not okay. And it just takes a few minutes. You can do it on a hot 15, you can do it on a lunch break, you can do it while you're waiting at the pickup line for the kids at school. Like,
hello.
I mean, sometimes activism has to take place while you're at the drop-off line. That's okay. Like,
This
whenever you can find the time, go and do it.
do it.
It's all valid. It's all
Oh,
valid.
thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Listen, Cameron, we're gonna have you back. I want to have you back. Just for us to have
Yeah,
just to kind of stay in the loop of what's going on out there in the political realm. This seems to be your arena, and you seem to be very mindful of this, since you do study the people, and I appreciate all that you were able to provide for us. We're going to stay in contact. We're going to continue to push forward those calls, and we're going to come back. I'm going to come back and let you know what we were able to do, or at least see if we can get some people to start signing up. Or I don't know. We got to figure something out, because we got to start holding people accountable for making these calls. Like, have you made a call to your local Congress, office? Because
yeah, yeah.
such and
No,
such.
this is one of those where mass mobilization is going to help and do very real good. Because if people are pissed about it and it seems to not have the type of public support, we can start to break off a few, and that will help it die. So Yeah, no, and I'd love to come back. This was a lot of fun. I love what you do. You're tons of fun. So
Thank
yeah, we'll
you.
circle back and check in, and hopefully the next time we speak, this terrible piece of legislation will be a thing of the past.
Hello, goodbye. You
Yep.
are awesome. Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you again, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. All right, guys, you heard it from the Cameron Journal. That was Cameron Cowan, Cameron Lee Cowan. He has the Cameron Journal. I'm going to put his details in. Make sure you click the link down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content. Be sure to keep us. Let us know what more you want to hear. Let us know if you're going to make that call to your local Congress, okay? And you heard it. Even if you have a felon, you can still call your Congress. Doesn't take away from you still making that phone call because we got to get the buzzes. We got to get the buzz going. We need to let the people know that hey, that bill that you're looking to pass, yeah, let's table that. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming in. And are you mind? Like you know what to do.